TriStar Pictures invites you on a journey into the grip of fear. Anaconda.
Welcome back to the 12th annual Halloween special. Tonight we're talking about 1997's all-time classic, the beloved Anaconda. When I say beloved, I am lying. This film currently boasts a 4.9 on IMDb, a 37 on Metacritic, a 41 on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 2.3 on Letterboxd, where I gave it a nice little heart. Look, I get it. Anaconda is not considered a classic, and I certainly will not sit here and tell you that it is one. What it is for me is not only very nostalgic, and strangely rather important for my monster B-movie development as an 11-year-old. But it has remained a highly entertaining film for me for so many reasons, and a film that I often recommend at parties. Like, I get the idea of sitting there alone in your house watching Anaconda and being like, this is stupid. But like being next to your best friends, watching Jon Voight look at Jennifer Lopez like he wants to eat her. I don't know what else could be more entertaining than that. Like, if I was still doing the Hilariosity segment, this would 100% fit in that. Contractually, I have to say this is a bad movie. Like, if you hooked me up to a lie detector test and was like, is Anaconda a good film? I'd be like, no. But I can also tell you that honestly, out of the 4 or 5 times I've seen Anaconda throughout my life, I have always thought, I'm glad I did that. And I could use a lot of words or phrases to explain why I like Anaconda. I could say, so bad it's good. I could say guilty pleasure. I could say all these terms that, people get and they understand. I'm just going to say that I like watching this movie because I find it very entertaining. Without hyperbole, Anaconda has the best cast ever assembled for film. Listen to this. Eric Stoltz, Danny Trejo, Owen Wilson, Jon Voight, Ice Cube, Jennifer Lopez, Kari Wuhrer, and can you forget Jonathan Hyde, Van Pelt from Jumanji, Bruce from Titanic, Herbert Cadbury from Richie Rich, and of course the Mummy. I mean, this guy was like everywhere in the 90s. Name a better movie where J-Lo, Ice Cube, and Owen Wilson go up against a snake. You can't. My history with Anaconda begins in 1999. The film came out 2 years prior in 97, when I was only 9 years old. I was not allowed to watch PG-13 movies until I turned 13. There was like this whole thing with my dad, and he didn't let me watch movies, and I had to watch them on TV if they were edited for content. That seemed to smooth things over with him a little bit. So a couple years after a film would come out back then, it would end up on network television and I could finally watch it. Now, this was during my VHS recording era when I discovered that I could take a blank tape, put it in the VCR, and watch a movie like a hawk with the remote, press record as the movie started, and then wait for the commercials to start. And when the commercials started, press stop and wait for the movie to come back and press record again. And I discovered that I could then archive movies that way without the commercials on all these blank tapes. I did that with a lot of movies, and I guess now that I'm sitting here thinking about this, that was probably my first experience with some form of editing. Anaconda was absolutely one of those movies for me. I was so excited to watch anything that had monsters or creatures. I loved Jurassic Park, The X-Files. There were a few other films of that era too, like The Relic, or Peter Benchley's Creature, which I talked about a few Halloween specials ago. You can blame Jaws for that, I guess. Basically any movie that felt like it was remotely like Jaws, I was obsessed with when I was a kid. And as I get older now, I look at the film and I see some rather unconvincing special effects, but actually quite a bit of really good special effect work too, and a fantastic animatronic snake. But I suppose the greatest special effect in the movie is actually Jon Voight's face. He keeps his face in a position throughout the film that can only be described as a rock face in the Grand Canyon. But I had a really interesting experience the first time I saw the film uncut, because I realized that this is actually one of the goriest PG-13 movies to ever exist. Without a doubt, Anaconda is one of the hardest PG-13s I have ever seen. As strange as that is to believe, let me read some of the IMDb parental guide to you. A snake is shot in the head 3 times with a rifle. Chunks of flesh fly off, quite graphic and bloody. A monkey is killed. Its bloody arm is shown on a table. A man fills its blood into a bucket and dumps it onto 2 people. Very bloody scene. The film is all about a giant anaconda snake in the jungle, so expect creature violence. That's good to know. The snake kills a panther and leaves the panther's eyeball lying on the ground. That's actually a kind of funny scene. Like, the camera just hovers over this, like, marble looking eyeball thing. A man puts a pick through the snake's head. The snake spits up a dead monkey and a slightly chewed up man. You can have all of that, but if somebody got shot in a movie and a little blood comes out of the exit wound, rated R instantly. It's a very strange system. As I said, some of the CGI can be a bit noticeable nowadays. That's with just about any film of this era. You're going to see the seams a little bit more than you might have if it was new, because we've seen advancements in technology. But there's also a lot of things in the film that look better, strangely, than some films we see today, partially because every movie back then was shot on film, and things all have a softness to it and a layer of grain that's just so beautiful looking. But some of the death sequences are actually really great. And I cannot watch Anaconda anymore without thinking about Nacho Libre.
Anaconda squeeze!
Yes, this movie 100% is borrowing from Jaws. Jon Voight's character is that strange, eccentric hunter who has familiarity with the creature. That's Quint. And of course, they're hunting this anaconda and tensions are at play. The uniqueness of the film is that they're actually there for a documentary. They're trying to find this elusive tribe of people. And along the way, they kind of get hijacked by Jon Voight's character. And not only did Jon Voight's character want to eat J-Lo's character in that scene, Jon Voight, the actor, eats this entire film. We're not just talking about chewing the scenery. We're talking about swallowing this movie whole, just like an anaconda would. And maybe that's the hidden brilliance of his work in the film. He was being an anaconda, swallowing everyone around him into the vacuum that is Jon Voight's brilliant performance in 1997's Anaconda. The final showdown with this giant snake is actually really entertaining, and the shot of it falling out of this pillar while lit aflame is great. Because I make videos on the internet, I need to reiterate that I know Anaconda's not a good movie. Fuck, I don't give a shit. It's really, really entertaining, and I love monster B movies that are actually given a budget. So often now movies like this are the big snake versus the giant tarantula, and they shot it for like $2 in 10 days, and it would have been on Redbox, but that's not a thing anymore, and maybe it's at the bottom of a Best Buy bin. Oh wait, that's not a thing anymore. Okay, so maybe you torrented it. But I've always had a massive soft spot for this movie because I saw it at the right time, because it was a monster movie when I wanted a monster movie. Guys, if you've never seen Anaconda, man, maybe don't watch it. Like alone, but like if you're with friends, you might have some fun. Guys, thank you so much for continuing to watch the 12th annual Halloween special. I'll have more videos coming for you very soon, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.